Who would have thought after all of this year, the perfect person to basically sum up the whole Knights season so far would be Christian Welsh in a press conference when he didn't even play the Knights that game. So I think it's probably safe to say that the 2023 season for the Newcastle Knights is going to probably be classed as a lost one. I mean, after the last couple of weeks where we've played teams where we should have realistically won, but decided not to, it's kind of now making it look like we're not really going to make the finals. Especially now because of how close the season has been with the teams above us, and pretty much even if we were to make a charge in the late second half of the season to try to make the eight, a lot of teams have to have a say for us to not make it or to make it. And I gotta say, as a Knights fan, it's kind of frustrating because we've seen teams that have been around us over the last couple of years starting to break away and do good things while we're still kind of, stuck in a way. For example, the Gold Coast Titans, who pretty much are basically the Queensland version of us because of how similar they've been to us in terms of positioning and coaching and stuff like that for the last couple of years, they're currently challenging for the top 8 whilst we're in the bottom 4. And another team in a very similar position is the New Zealand Warriors, who are currently fighting to get into the top 4. Like, show me somebody who had the Warriors in that top 4 position and I'll show you a liar. But it's just in fair credit to them because of their development and how they've been going, and their recruiting has been done really well. But I do feel though, when it comes to this season, I think you're going to start getting into the whole what ifs and stuff like that. Like, I mean, obviously the big main one, what if Jaden Brayley didn't get injured again and be out for the rest of the season? What if Adam O'Brien was sacked at the end of last season, and who knows who we could have brought in? We could have brought in Kyle Flanagan, who I think was like the main guy up until the Dragons ended up getting him. It's just unfortunate that this season's kind of going to be looked at as a loss. Like, yes, I granted there is still a chance we could make the 8, but it's just looking less likely with each day. And honestly, I feel like kind of regardless of what does happen, I think this will be Adam O'Brien's final year as Knights coach. Like, I know he has stated, like, I've been with the finals with this team and all that, and it's like, it's understandable. Those were the first 2 years, and ever since then, we've basically have gone backwards. We've gotten worse somehow. But in fairness, also, the league is kind of different because, for example, 2021, that whole season was pretty much Penrith and Melbourne destroys everyone else just filters out for positioning. And the Knights did end up making the finals. They came 7th, but had like one of the lowest for and against in the NRL era to make the finals. It was like almost like negative 84 or something along those lines. And I do also think with some of the things that Adam O'Brien was saying last year were just like, he just kept on digging himself a bigger hole when it comes to the Knights fans, and him saying, like, I know how to win premierships, even though he, wasn't the coach when it came to those premierships. He was the assistant. It's like, no, you've seen how to win premierships, but you haven't really won one. But it all comes down now with a question when it comes to Adam O'Brien. This week, the Knights go to Accor Stadium to play against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. A team in a very similar positioning to us in the pounds of they're in the bottom 4 and realistically with their squad shouldn't be. And I just have a feeling that if the Knights do end up losing this game, I think the writing will be officially on the wall for Adam O'Brien. Because the Knights have been, besides from one game this year, have pretty much lost every game away. We have been very bad away from home. We won round 2 against the Tigers, but that was when the Tigers were going really bad. Like, they were continuing their massive losing streak. And I just feel that, like, when it comes to, like, this part of the season, I think we can't, if we do lose, we basically will accept, yep, we're not made the finals. I mean, I've kind of accepted it after the loss against the Roosters, where we basically, everything had us pointing to us winning that game, but we decided not to. And it's just, other teams are going to be more competitive. We've got to work more harder than other teams and getting more wins because of that draw. which initially helped us in the couple of weeks, but then we had to kind of, win games to try to keep that going, but didn't. So I don't know how the rest of the season is going to play out, but I do feel like regardless of what happens, this probably will be Adam O'Brien's last year as coach. And even going into questioning of who takes over is just, there's nothing in really that great who could replace us. Like, yes, you got Michael Maguire, who is currently the coach of the New Zealand team, and, was at the Tigers at a very tumultuous time, but what is a good coach? I mean, he won a premiership with South in 2014. Paul McGregor's okay, who's also just been a person who's been recently linked, but realistically didn't do anything for the 6 years he was at St. George. It's just... Now, I'm not thinking about, we need to get someone like Bellamy or something like that, but hell, or even get Wayne back. that would be interesting, but I don't know. It's just, I feel like the club needs to do some form of reset. I'm not saying do a complete another rebuild, but it's clearly other teams around us over the last couple of years have improved. But for some reason, we've become stagnant. So, Knights fans, or just people who have seen the Knights this year, what do you guys think? I feel it could be a various type of comments about which way the club should go. But yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.